it's time to talk about Kelsey. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not totally sure how I feel about her. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but then I put her chart together, I took a look at it, and I thought, okay, this kind of makes sense. She is not a simple girl dating a rich man. She has an Aquarius Venus. She has a Cancer moon. She has a whole lot going on in the 8th house of entanglement. So let's discuss. So first, let's take a look at her Aquarius pileup. So Kelsey has Saturn, Mercury, Venus, her midheaven, and Sun all in Aquarius in the 9th house. The 9th house is all about your worldview and big beliefs. And Aquarius is a fixed air sign. It's all about doing something differently. She wasn't wired to live a life in order to make other people more comfortable. I can see why part of her personality is kind of like, what even is monogamy? And why are you mad that I live in a castle? Let's go a little bit deeper on her Aquarius Venus. So Venus is how we connect, what we're attracted to, how we experience love. And Aquarius Venus needs space. They need freedom. They need to be a little bit weird. And so knowing that Kelsey has unconventional relationships, or at least she has in her past, I know that things are changing for her, that makes a lot of sense to me. Kelsey has a couple of conjunctions in her chart, and I think that those are worth mentioning. So a conjunction is when two planetary bodies sit so close to one another in your chart that their energies kind of blend together or sometimes amplify one another. And I think that that's the case here with Kelsey's Aquarius Sun, Aquarius Venus, and her midheaven is right there too. So the Sun is all about your core identity. Venus is about aesthetics and beauty, and your midheaven is all about your public image. And so I think being a beauty queen is a little bit coded into her chart. Now let's talk about the 8th house, because I think that this gets really interesting as well. The 8th house has always been a little bit hard for me to describe. I think that it seems like it can embody a lot of things, because if you just look it up, it will say the 8th house represents inheritance, sex, love, relationships, contracts. And so I've started to think of it just as 8th house is entanglements. The 8th house is directly opposite the 2nd house. So while the 2nd house says my money, my resources, my value, the 8th house is all about those things shared. So it's kind of like intimacy with consequences. And when you look at Kelsey's natal chart here, she has Mars, Uranus, and Neptune in Capricorn in the 8th house. That is such an interesting combination. Mars will say there's desire, conflict, power, heat. Uranus will say, this should be a little weird. And Neptune will say, let's also make it very beautiful and confusing. And then that's all in Capricorn, which I always say is this like big boss energy. So Capricorn is like, let's put all of this in writing. So put all of this together, and both of the relationships that Kelsey has shared with us on screen both make total sense to me. The initial arrangement that we saw her living in this beautiful mansion with an emotionally and also physically distant boyfriend, her Venus Aquarius can tolerate weird things. But eventually her Cancer moon is going to say, am I safe? Am I protected? Have I been chosen? Or am I just a beautiful installment in this mansion? And that is why she left him for Bill. All of this to say, I think it makes sense. Kelsey isn't easy to like, and she's also not easy to dislike. She's a walking contradiction. She wants to live life on her own terms, and she also wants to be kept safe. Her Aquarius Venus says, love should be free. We should be able to do what we want. But her Cancer moon says, but babe, where are we gonna live?